No break, no jam, no sense. A joro jam, a joro, joro, joro. Attention.
Welcome back to the Green Passport Podcast. As always, you already know us, the boys, and now we have our second time the episode. We have Abibat, aka Abstract, on the show.
Hey guys.
You know, I like being with celebrities when we do this thing. You know, 1K subscribers. You know, you went now you're popping now.
Follow me on everything: Instagram, not Facebook, but
Facebook,
Snapchat.
You went 2021, no.
And
2021 people are still using
doesn't
Facebook. Anyways, we're all laughing now, wherever the case may be. But today we're talking about a serious issue, to say the least. So, right before the year ended, popular media star Justin Uji basically got accused of some egregious crimes, to say the least.
Falsely.
He was accused of, I think this was in 2016-17, having sex with a 14-year-old child.
Having anal sex with a 14-year-old.
I didn't want to get into
Why
the
not?
gravity,
We need to give
but
him all the facts.
yeah, whoever the case.
Integrity.
So basically, there were Snapchat conversations provided, like proof of the party that happened, wherever the case may be. So of course, understandably, considering at the time when this happened, it was said that UG lied about his age when the crime happened. You can understand that the TO pretty much went after him. Bear in mind, this was coming off his 23rd birthday. He had a movie, High School Chronicles, out on YouTube. He was doing the absolute best in his career.
We're not plugging him, by the way. We're just
This is not us like really
him.
plugging him, but at the end of the day, like, it's just facts. Like, that's what he was going through in his life. Like, he was doing pretty well. That's when the allegations came out. But then, come 4 days later, after silence and contacting his lawyers, it came to find out there was just a group of people essentially trying to set not only him up, but it came out that 4 other boys were also being set up, and the party that it was said it was at, it wasn't even in the country. So obviously we understand like why it's, even with me, for example, I'm always team believe the victim. But at the same time, like false accusations like that, I just wonder, like, why do people go out of their way to do something so evil? And the reason why that pisses me off as much is because it does not do any favors for actual rape victims at all. Because now a lot of people, ignorant people, even abusers themselves, they take pride and power in those fake accusations. But apart from that, what you guys have to say on the whole issue?
I think it's just nice to just like clarify that, you know, false allegations, like just by percentages, it's really rare. Like, let's say there's like 100 cases, it's possibly going to be 1 or 2. So
Yeah.
I do understand why people on the tier would come for him. I would come for him because honestly, reading the storyline, it was a minor. The girl was a minor, and he lied about his age. So there's already coercion, manipulation, a lot of things that, you know, along those lines. So even though it might have been like a 1 in 1,000 like chance, I still think
Always
just
believe
believe
the
the
victim,
victim, and it doesn't matter. It's better to be accused, I guess, and then, you know, maybe prove yourself later on, whatever, but than for you to now be because he has a big future. So much people have big futures in front of them. R. Kelly had a huge future in front of him. He has money, he had loads of things. So I hear it, but I also don't. So yeah.
I think people underestimate the impacts that a false rape allegation can have
No one's
on
denying that.
someone.
No, because you just said
Because you just said
that.
No, I'm not denying the mental health, and obviously I just said by percentage, because more time it's usually like, you know, women who report this and stuff like that. Imagine how much more it is going on for someone just by percentage alone. If that's the most case, then it's not to say ignore false allegation. Of course, there's a lot of like mental, you know, issues going on there, but at the same time as well, if by percentages women, or even women, trans women as well, are mostly affected by these things, then it just makes sense. I hear you, but I don't. Sorry.
So
Yeah, sorry.
in essence, what you're saying is that we're going to judge a person based on the actions of other people, essentially. Because it is possible, and obviously I know that real rape cases are far more than false allegations.
Yeah.
But here we're talking
Gap
about
is massive.
we're talking about a single person.
Yeah.
I mean, just because Tunde down the street is a rapist doesn't mean I'm a rapist. Now, I'm not saying we should keep quiet because I know that silence aids rapists and abusers and everything.
Definitely.
What I'm saying is that we should look at this thing like as a step of processes. So, for example, with the Justin UG thing, people heard the allegation and they began to call his school on the same day that they did that. It took him 2 days to clear his name. Just 2 days. If people had relaxed a little bit, we wouldn't have gotten to that stage.
I think you need to remember as well that this all happened online, and like it's just as well as we know, like the impact of like social media. I don't know this guy personally. I'm not really active in Nigerian Twitter, like that. But at the same time as well, I think I hear it. I understand in terms of a singular case, but even when I saw like the screenshots as well from like the Snapchat messages, it almost sounded like he admitted to it. Do you get what I mean? So when I read that, I was like, this guy is responding to the girl, and he's saying, I'm sorry for carrying out these actions. I'm like, bro, like
You did it.
you did it basically. So why are you admitting to it? Because we need to understand that he's in a position of power as well. Because even if he did it, he can make it seem like he didn't. Like as long as you have power, we know how power dynamics work as well, especially in Nigeria specifically for like victims and perpetrators. If you have power, you can make some things disappear. It's not me denying him doing it or not doing it. I don't know the story personally, but at the same time, it's something that we need to also take into perspective as well, because people in power can erase their name from things, be it that big or that small. So yeah, definitely.
Fair enough.
It's a
Fair enough.
like it's such a slippery slope in a lot of
Yeah.
these things. It's a super slippery slope because, like I said, I just want to believe that we don't, but I want to believe that we live in a world where a woman, or literally anyone, because it's just no women that get sexual assault in this day and age, that anyone can come out about sexual assault and be telling the truth. I don't want to be living in a world where, obviously it's not reality in it, but then I don't want to be living in a world where people feel the need to lie about that, whether to spite someone or just, I don't know, bro, because at the end of the day, all it really does is tarnishes or even just creates speculations for actual victims.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
What I was going to say was that my problem isn't even with people believing victims. It's people believing accusations, even though there are things that might, hint that what that person is saying isn't necessarily true.
But in
If
the
you
UG case,
understand.
you almost looked like
in the
solid. Like
the UG case was okay. Yeah, it was fair enough because I honestly I believed what was going on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think we need to come up with a system where it doesn't leave the other person in a position where he can't possibly prove that he's innocent. If you understand what I mean, because if it's, I mean, a he said she said situation is believe the victim. I mean, in that situation, it's kind of difficult, so we might as well just give the benefit of the doubt to the woman. But in instance, okay, for example, I don't even know how to put this. I'm trying to remember a specific case.
I hear what you mean, but I definitely understand what you mean in terms of, the victim, be it in that 1 in 10 case where someone might have actually not committed it. But I get in that sense. Like, what about there's no system in place for them? But honestly, I think in the dynamics of victims and perpetrators, although that might be the smallest case, more time I just really feel like literally emphasis on believing the victim. And it's not to say that we can't restore you. Like, you can restore yourself even if someone has accused you wrong in one way or the other, but the mental impact that rape has on you, because people were like, oh, this happened 3-4 years ago, I think, for the girl. Why are you just saying it now? Some people, it takes ages.
It's a bit ignorant.
Yeah, so ignorant.
It takes ages to come to term with some, because rape is very evasive, even regardless of like what age you are. Like, it's very, very evasive. So I hear it, but just for in his case, like, was he not able, quote unquote, prove himself? Because I don't know of the details of it in 2 days. So what about someone who could have possibly had to live with it for 4 or 5 years? So it's kind of like,
true.
It's like a double-edged sword per se. So if you hear me, but
Yeah. Speaking about ignorance, one thing that I shouldn't even be laughing, but one thing that really bothered me about the situation as well, like, I'm sorry, there were 2 sides of Twitter that day. The side of people obviously going into UG in the event that he did that thing, but then people that also didn't seem to find a problem with a 20
Yes.
year old having sex with
I
a
think
14-year-old.
Yeah,
That's just madness, man.
In fact, there was even a third side, really, of people blaming the girl. Like, oh, why are you at that party? Why are you
at that
sexually
age,
active? Blah, blah,
exactly.
blah.
And I was so shocked. I wasn't even shocked. I was just embarrassed, I think.
I
For
was
a lot of,
shocked,
I was
man.
just embarrassed for a lot of like, not Nigerians per se, but for some grown people who are making those allegations. What people forget is that people have sex. Like, sex is normal.
Bro.
People have sex. We are the product of sex, and that is okay. Like, and there's no age. Who are you? Like, are you this moral? Oh yes, you're having sex. More time, those people that are saying that their kids are having sex as we speak.
100%, yeah.
Like, it's
Very
100%.
vehemently.
People
Yeah.
have sex. Young kids have sex as early as 12, 13. Some guy was even saying the other day he lost his virginity at like 9 years old. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
people are actively having sex, so it's not a matter of
Is that
age.
right though?
On my own son,
Me,
sha.
please, I'm not going into that. Like, kids are curious, especially kids that are like, their parents don't talk to them about things like
No,
that.
fair enough. Kids are curious, but should they be having sex at 9?
Maybe not at 9, like, but at the same time, because it's not the expectation,
Yeah.
doesn't mean the reality says otherwise. Like, kids are having sex, and I think the fact that it could have possibly even had sex with a minor, like 13-year-olds have sex. Girls get pregnant young in Nigeria all the time, even
Yeah.
everywhere in the world, not even Nigeria. So those people that were just saying that, like, not F you, but low key.
F you.
Do you
F
really
you.
think there's hope?
There's what?
Do you really think there's hope?
We've
Because
spoken
when you-
about this on numerous occasions. Like, Nigeria in terms of education, in a lot of things, not just in the academic,
Yes, I was
Nigeria
gonna say
needs
that.
a factory reset, bro.
Like, people, we're surrounded. All this Afrobeats, Burna Boy. They sing about sex all the time. Like,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
Every single, we all vibe to it. Like, we're 5, 6. Even my like little 13-year-old brother, like, he's dancing to like these songs. Like, most African Afrobeat song is about sex. Like, let's not deny. Like, we are surrounded by sex as Africans, as whatever. Like, sex is in our face because obviously we have expectations of it. People are having sex, and I think that education, like sexual education, not just, you know, if you have sex with a guy you get pregnant. Like, some girls don't know that, you know, about basic contraceptions. Like, literally, some girls don't know that, you know, if a guy comes, like, you can
You will,
get
yeah.
pregnant. Some girls literally don't know things like that, and I think in Nigeria especially, like, northern Nigeria is different, obviously, because sexual education needs to be like very.
It's not a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
even in the
So,
whole
yeah.
Nigeria, really, it's not a thing because we see it as such a taboo.
Such a
And
And it's
taboo.
having
Yeah.
like a negative impact because we need to teach young people that, you know, how to behave. I'm not trying to absolve the people who did what they did of blame, but I mean, it would certainly make things better if we started teaching children from an early age that you shouldn't do these things.
Sex ed is
Definitely.
so important, but then
yeah, and it
you
shouldn't
know,
be
in go.
anatomical either. It shouldn't be like, you know, penis, balls, uterus, fallopian tubes. Like, no, I think that's cute, but it's not.
it's not things like really. That's just
Gonna-
basic
Like,
biology.
it's
That's
just
the
like
human
basic biology.
anatomy.
Literally, and it's one thing that I low-key pride my mom in. Is the fact that my mom was like to me, like, well, why alone you to see LA Bashe if this happens. No, like, my mom was very, like, she was very precise in terms of like telling me, like, you know, how pregnancy come about, like,
Yeah.
XYZ, in terms of, like, you know, it's a nice thing. Like, sex feels good, like, you
It
know,
does,
just that
it
basic
does.
kind of things like that. Like,
Yeah,
it is nice,
even I
it's
don't
good,
know.
but
No, I would never know about that.
Why you
but-
copying? You boys have not had sex. Please.
What?
Please,
No,
bro.
we-
You should have begged you.
that's what it is. I'm purely virgin.
Purely virgin.
I'm a virgin.
All
Extra
virgins here, we thank
olive
God.
oil. As in, I think it renews every new year.
Every-
2021, we go.
We go
We've
again.
blown the candle.
But
yeah.
now, go on.
Yeah, I just think definitely in terms of sexual education, it shouldn't be anatomical. It should definitely be, like, you know, more in depth and stuff like that. And it feeds back into like the rape
Yeah.
topic as well, like things like that. Like, if you don't know what is
Consent.
consent in terms like consent, sexual education, how it works, like they all kind of lead on to each other, like they feed into each other. Because if you have proper sexual education, you can then know what's right, what's not
not,
right, and
yeah.
practices that are all right and practices that are not okay, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, thanks for tuning to my podcast. Yeah. If
No,
anyone
in
has-
general though, like, it's so important to have sex ed in a lot of levels, especially like teenage years, adolescence, whatever the case may be. Because even things like consent, a lot of men, boys really, are so entitled. They just believe that, oh, if they're horny or whatever the case may be, like, they don't know what it is. Like, they think no is just, oh no.
It should be
If
really
she's drunk,
it should be
no.
really straightforward though.
But
It should be really
No, a lot
because
of
things
it's
are
not
that hard. Because in my
If you know,
experience,
like,
yeah,
if she's
my
drunk,
parents
nope.
didn't need to sit me down to tell me don't touch a girl. I just knew
Yeah.
that if you don't touch someone if they don't want to be touched. you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's 1 + 1, isn't it? I mean, I guess
The
it
thing is,
isn't.
yeah, the thing is, it's easy for us to say because
Yeah.
obviously that's what we're exposed to. But I think I was watching this video of one time, like this girl, it was in Ghana actually. She was walking through the streets of Ghana, and like the way, obviously she's a very beautiful girl.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like she was, I think we might link the video here, but like as she was walking through, men literally grab her like to speak to her and stuff like that. And it's a normal thing. I feel like obviously there's cultural differences as well.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
thought of touching someone, like it's very evasive. You know,
human
like imagine me
mind.
running my hands through your hair, not even knowing you. Like people think
Yeah,
that's quite
yeah.
personal. So it's the same thing as touching. It's like me almost leaning in for a kiss. Like it's very like don't touch
It's
people.
evasive.
Some people obviously don't know, and I think that needs to obviously be entrenched in the educational system, be it in Nigeria and also in England as well. To be fair,
Yeah.
Facts.
so yeah.
Like, big up Ebele, by the way. She appeared in the episode a few ago, 2-3 weeks ago, whatever the case may be. Obviously she had a market match, like, you know, around the market, complaining about men groping women in these markets or whatever the case may be. Yet there were still men like, oh, we will touch you. Like, what's there?
Imagine
We'll
we
touch you
will
wherever
touch
the case
you.
may be.
Like it's your it's a God-given right. I will touch you.
It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
what's
I
wrong
will
with me?
touch
Like,
you. It's like, what are you
Look at
saying?
me now.
Like,
Like,
it's like, it's your body, but we must touch you. Like, even as they were walking through the streets with placards and everything, they were still like slapping people's asses and whatever the case may be. It was so
Literally.
disgusting to see.
Patriarchy, like, you know, obviously we talk about race a lot of times, so like
Yeah.
patriarchy sips, even in patriarchy now mixed in an African context. Walai,
Holy
It's bad. No, it's bad.
It's honestly different. It's kind of like the oppressed oppressing the oppressed.
Yeah, the oppressed,
Like,
yeah.
literally, it's almost kind of like we already have to face so much BS, be it the government in Nigeria, be it, you know, like the trickle down of corruption, and now even you that are facing all those kind of like oppression, you've now gone out of your way to go and, you know, put that on someone else as well. Like it's
Yeah.
very mad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely I think patriarchy in African context, sometimes Nigeria to be specific, can honestly be so almost you just scoff at it, like, you know, you love your culture so much, you
Yeah.
love your people, and then those are the same people that are now
Letting you
saying,
down.
I go touch
Yeah.
you.
I feel you.
But like
Aside from like you know, implementing a stronger you know, way of getting sexual
Yeah.
education in Nigeria, what's another way of people who have already gone past that? So people who aren't in school anymore.
ooh, I hear that.
Do you get what I mean?
I always think it's easier to implement in the younger age.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, when you just look at some people and you just think, "Wow, you're actually far gone." Like,
Yeah.
so-
Just wait for
But are
them to
people
die,
actually, is it
man.
possible for people who
Just
maybe
wait
not.
for them to die.
before they
think-
die they'll perpetrate all their evil?
No, but we teach the people
Mm.
coming up that this isn't the way to act. So at a certain age, we know the people don't have sense, and then when they die out.
yeah, but we can't wait for them to
Yeah.
die out.
But the thing is,
Obviously, I can't believe this is
but the thing is that, like,
True,
no,
Sha.
but I'm being serious because the thing is that when someone does or believes something for a certain amount of time, it gets harder as time goes on for you to change their minds.
It does get hard.
True, that's
It's
true.
impossible
And
though.
I've come to terms with the fact that you can't force somebody to change. You can only give them the evidence.
I'm
give
not
them
force
the
it. We
facts.
can't force them to change.
You can't force them to change.
You can't force
man.
people to
No,
change.
That's why
can.
I think
We
we
can
might
instruct.
we might not be able to force you personally, but if you know that there are policies in place for carrying out actions like this,
They will
and
punish
if
you.
someone, you will get punished.
Yeah.
No, but
True.
the thing is,
If you spend 2 nights in Kirikiri jail, you go.
You
So
changed.
bad. Thank
No,
you,
see,
Jerry,
listen
man.
now,
You
but-
changed.
listen.
That's what I'm talking
That's why
about.
our entire legal system is built on punishment, and it's not really working.
I hear that. I
It doesn't
hear
really
that.
Yeah, it's
deter
more
people from-
punishment than reform. I
than
get what you
Yeah,
mean.
I hear
Exactly.
I get what you
that.
mean.
Punishment doesn't really, man.
But
Let them
I don't
just
know,
die
but
out.
But the thing is, I feel like it's such a sticky one because I'm thinking, if God forbid, if I was a victim of rape, I don't even the thought of like reform. Like now you're coming to society as a better man. Like
You don't
bro,
give a
Yeah,
fuck
like what
about
does
that.
that mean?
what,
Yeah.
what does that
Yeah.
even
What does
mean?
that
I think
mean?
the our goal should be preventing it in the first place. I
Yeah,
think the
definitely.
whole thing about punishment, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's never made any fucking sense because the fact remains that there's still a victim, whether or not somebody's in prison or not. I don't mean the person should go scot free, but when we're trying to design a system to make a country better, we should be looking at preventing the act in the first place, not anticipating the act and then reacting to what happens.
I think it needs to be a bit more proactive. I think it could
Yeah.
definitely be a bit of both, and I definitely think it could be a bit of both. Bits of both. So. This English go easy now.
Because especially human beings there will be people who will slip through the cracks, so there has to be something. But punishment shouldn't be the be all and end all like it is. Just send them to prison. I mean,
no, for example, for what she said now, okay, for example, God forbid she got raped and she sees her abuser out, he says he's reformed. How is that going to? Yeah, it's going to be triggering. How's she going to react to that?
I think maybe it's something a bit more case by case, like a case by case approach. Even though it would need a lot of money and stuff like that, case by case approach is literally important because obviously different people. Some people don't mind. Some people, if you not apologize to them, but for some people over the years and stuff, because I've seen like those videos where like I forgive my
abuser,
and all that kind of stuff. People don't mind that, but I think maybe a lot more like personal case by case approach should be taken rather than like trying to have like maybe within a system a case by case approach within a system. If that makes any sense. But
yeah, that makes sense. Do you guys agree with? I already know my own opinion of it. I'd like just like rather than going to the lawyers, wherever the case may, just out it on Twitter. Or whatever the case may be. Like, what do you guys think about that? Because look at the UG situation, for example. It was put on Twitter that now there were people that were going out of their way to email the guy's school. Bear in mind, beyond everything that... What?
Is he in school?
Yeah, he's in university in America. And he's not born there or anything. He's an international student, like, 3 of us. So if anything really happened, like, if he didn't work on the case quickly, like, he would have been gone. Like, they would have expelled him, and then them doing that, he's going back home.
No,
Sorry,
I will say one
how
thing.
did they prove that he was innocent? I didn't.
So basically, the first thing they did is the party that they claimed that he went to, like he had like passport documents and travel documents to prove that he wasn't even in the country.
But why was he then admitting to the Snapchat?
But that's the thing. That Snapchat conversation was fake.
Yeah,
it was photoshopped.
I think what we should learn from that is we should request for screen recordings instead of screenshot.
That's important
too.
I think
as a victim, whatever platform you feel like you wanna out anyone, honestly, if it's gonna give you that resolution, obviously we can say some platforms are a bit more formal than informal or stuff like that. But I think however way you wanna lay it out, please explode. And I genuinely do not care. Like it sounds really reckless, I know, and like there should be platforms in place and stuff like that. Like why are you coming on Twitter to talk about something so sensitive? But if I'm seeing you living good, like you're actually living all right, as in like blow. Honestly, it's not me trying to, and it's triggering me some type of way, like
because
like,
you can't miss a minute.
Like exactly, like what is the, I think if Twitter's obviously Twitter can then spiral out of control sometimes. We just know the nature of Twitter, like that's gonna be the case. If it was me personally, maybe Twitter might not be the way, but honestly, different people have different approaches, and if that's the way that's best for you, to let that out and and you want to shame them and you want people to know that this is
that's the important thing. That's why I kind of agree.
Go for it, like honestly.
That's why I kind of agree.
I agree with what she said 100%, but I do think there should be a specified platform for it. Not because people who have been abused can't let out, what they feel on Twitter. They can, but I feel like a specific platform catered to that would have more effect.
No, I think it would be more open to abuse. Actually, I think that it's okay the way it is. If you want to go on Snapchat, or you want to go on Instagram to expose your abuse, no problem. What I have a problem with is the anonymous stuff. Now, I understand why. Can I solve first? Okay. I understand why some women wouldn't want people to know their identity. I mean, we know that people are fucking idiotic, and there's so much. We know all that stuff. But the way I see it, when you give people the ability to accuse someone else anonymously, that's just too much power. And this is just a personal thing for me. I believe that if you give people a power, a certain authority to do something, they're going to abuse it at the end of the day.
But you think them...
The potential for abuse is too high for us to permit... I wouldn't permit it in the right word, but to promote that.
But do you know it's so difficult for them to actually come out in the first place?
I know it's difficult, but I mean, like, I can... If I don't like you, I'm smiling with you here. I don't like you. I can just go on an anonymous thing.
The thing is, I just feel like just by the nature of it just being happening at less rate, I think by the nature of it just happening at a less rate, it's because I don't even think that's power. I don't even think that's power. It's almost kind of like this is this has been so it's affected me so much that I've now come out of something out of character to now come and say XYZ about you. And that was imagine the Me Too movement as well. Lupita Nyong'o, for example, came out about that guy. I can't even remember his name off my head right now. But she was like, when I went to his house, something really weird happened. For her to come out of character, knowing the kind of high caliber that I place her at as for example, and seeing like for her to even have to say that in the first place, it just then goes to show like like it's not power. If anything, it's not almost a sign of it's a position of weakness, because I'm coming out of my norm. I'm coming here to say this guy did XYZ and it's flipping disgusting. Do you get what I mean? So I don't think it's you holding power. It's almost you letting go, if anything, because it's now open for public dissection by anyone and whoever.
Isn't this when you reveal your identity?
I don't think it's I don't even think identity or no identity. I think you should. I don't think anonymous is just showing it's lack of power. I don't think it's power.
This is my thing.
It could.
This is my thing with that.
Because
safety, it's you keeping someone safe. It's you knowing that you can then step back. And more time, these abusers, more time they've proven that they've done it. More time as well.
But what in the event that she's not telling the truth?
I don't like to think of in the event that she's not telling the truth. Do you know why? Because
true.
until you've been,
We have to factor that.
But we
in.
have to factor that
I do
in.
factor it in, but I just think because just knowing the impact that these actions have, I try not to think, because sometimes when a lot of men do say, especially when you call out their friends, like your friend's a bit, but no, I know him, he's a nice guy. In the event that it might not be true, please, before then, till it proves it, then
he is,
it is like if you really know you haven't, like go out of your way or something. Don't come and be tweeting like one crazy man like going this, because more time, when like the rappers, the UK rappers are also accused. You see the way they move on Twitter, like they
like
start
kids,
they start to degrade the women and stuff like that. Like if you truly haven't done it or anything like that, I don't think this is the space for you to not come and be saying XYZ, this girl is a bitch, XYZ. Like, bro, there's other things you need to be doing. And it's not.
So then, what do you think is the best way to go about it?
No, this is my thing with it. Like, there was something I wanted to say, like, before I lose my train of thought. With the UG situation, like, what happened was there was this one girl that spoke for the victim, innit? Like, she spoke for the victim. And then, obviously, when people had started having doubts, whatever the case may be, it's like, okay, like, who? They went to her, it's like, okay, who was the girl that came to you? But that girl came with an anonymous account. Now, this is my thing with that. She didn't want to be revealed and she didn't want to out it herself. So she went to someone who had the platform who we could share with. I believe that you should go to such a person with your actual identity, but then tell them as they, putting it on the tail, whatever the case may be, like, keep me anonymous in it. So at least that way.
So they were even anonymous to the person that was.
Yeah.
Yes, that's that was the problem with it. She was anonymous to even the person that she confided in.
Then that doesn't stop anybody, even me.
That's what
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. To me, was like that was a very.
I think Ohiz's solution actually makes a lot of sense.
That wasn't a solution.
It wasn't a solution. It's just something that should happen.
It's his suggestion.
Remember, I said it's not. It's cured it though.
Please, come on, giving me the Nobel Prize.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but in general, it's just like, how can even me, like, if I was that person, like, you want to confide in me, it's like, okay, cool, like, you can't come to me on an anonymous tip. I have to know that you're an actual person, because, like you said, like, what is stopping me from even being a guy and saying, man, I don't like Ifeanyi, let me go and ruin his life? You get me?
I just think, like, just on the topic of anonymity, I just feel like, obviously knowing, because some people can even find it shameful. It's not even this, what's his name again?
UG, let's call him UG.
Yeah. On this case alone, but it's just like some people can find it embarrassing, like maybe it's not who people see them as and stuff like that. So I definitely hear it on the anonymity or being anonymous to even a person out in you. Like, I guess that could also work, but honestly, if I've chosen anonymity to begin with, then I think that should be respected.
So if someone came up to you, and
I don't like hypotheticals when it comes to
we have to put in
But
hypotheticals.
we have to use
You have to use
hypotheticals. We do. They're important.
It's pretty much real life, and like that's why I don't like. No, fair.
Oh, because it's real life.
Because it's because of the impact that it has. Like, people are always like, oh, what if it was innocent? What if it was?
No, I'm not gonna say
that's
that.
not
No,
what
I was gonna say.
No.
I mean, he's above that.
I was gonna say that. Fuck, I just forgot what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that if someone came up to you and you don't know who the person is and they wanted to remain anonymous even to you, but they wanted to out someone.
If the guys,
would you take it up?
I would definitely ask more questions and stuff like
They
that.
would answer all your questions, just not in regards to the identity.
Who they are.
Yeah.
Identity.
Would it be safe to take that
Gosh.
up?
I think it could be. I think it could be safe because if the receipts or
Check
add up
out,
and
yeah.
stuff like that, like, and it's grotesque. I mean, just generally, I definitely would.
But at the
This is-
same
that's the-
time,
No, to be honest,
That's
if
why-
the
that's why I
evidence
don't work
checks
with-
out,
that's why I
then
don't work with hypotheticals because
Yeah.
it would be different if it was like happening in real life. Like I don't.
that's what happened. Though.
true. But
Yeah,
DP
but-
with UG situation, like the receipts looked foolproof.
Yeah.
Everything was quote
Can we just
unquote
accept
there.
that sometimes there's no way to actually know if the person's lying or not?
That's what the courts do.
There's no way to know.
Don't say no. There's definitely.
Bro, justice
There
isn't
it
always served.
depends.
Bro, as a black man, you should know better than justice isn't
For
always
most-
served in the
for
court.
For most cases, people are, it's not. Oh yeah. If for 90% of cases people are telling the truth, then
Yeah.
I think that's it's a massive majority. And I'm not even one to use numbers all the time, but I think it's a massive majority. Now, if you fall into that 0.1 bacteria left, from the Dettol adverts.
A good day.
Sorry, if you fall into that 0.1% and that is now, like the case, I don't know, like, I guess you see, Eugene, like, it clearly shook him enough for him to be like, yo, like, what the hell, like, he gathered his things together. And did that, then I think that maybe you should do that, maybe, but
But
I just think I'm just very much
Okay,
believe
let
the
me
victim
finish.
type of, yeah.
The problem is the way things are now. Some people are condemned no matter what happens. So, for example, Justin's case, the only reason he was able to prove to what are you doing to me? The only reason he was able to prove that he was innocent.
Okay, I wouldn't have that shot.
Kill me here, man.
The only reason he was able to prove that he was innocent was because he traveled out of the country. And the difference was 24 hours. That was the difference, just a day. So in the event that he didn't, he would be condemned for life.
Nah, do you know what? I don't
As
think so.
I don't think you
Especially
have
when it-
much sympathy.
Yeah.
Well, which is fine, to be
Especially
honest.
Said, you're cold bitch.
I didn't want to say it like that.
Yeah, I think especially when it comes to like just that, oh yeah, I don't know, like I just.
No, it's not a case that it's not a
I know
situation
you're
where
saying
someone would come
it's a
out and I'd
luxury
say,
it's a luxury that not everyone has, but I feel like
Yeah.
looking at a lot of things like that, like there are men that have done grotesque thing.
Mhm.
Dr. Belly
Grotesque.
what's
Yeah,
his name?
yeah.
He was in Dubai the other time. Like we went to one Caribbean island. With everything that's happening in the UK, he could a lot of times, like as time go on, as we see with like Twitter, and people forget.
People
these
forget,
things,
yeah.
Like, there've been some rappers that they have done some very outrageous stuff.
Facts.
They're still selling out. They're
course.
still making music and they're still living. So I think that one of impact, blah blah blah. The
Mm-hmm.
reality is, especially in men, men will carry on. Like their life will go
No,
on.
I think
More time
I
their
think-
lives do go on.
I think that's a
I mean,
misconception.
this
actually,
guy,
No,
what's
obviously
this
not.
actor's name that got fucked up with the whole? I mean, it's not about rape, but I mean, what's his name?
Ohiz, you should know.
Wait, what's the
From
question?
Caribbean, from those pirates guys.
Oh, Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Johnny
But I
Depp,
mean,
yeah.
his case was tried. It was taken to court. Like things. That's why there are processes. If you're part of the 0.1%
Yeah.
or 10%, there's so much processes in place for you to carry it through.
Court's expensive though.
But if
If
I
you're
still
rich,
think-
if you win, like you
Yeah.
don't have to pay that. Like,
No,
I don't know how the court system works. Sorry, but yeah.
yeah. First
Lawyer,
of all, it's really
educators.
difficult because Johnny Depp did still lose, despite everything he had. And
Yeah.
second of all, I think that's a misconception because people use Docevelli. He's a popular guy. You can't use the situation of Docevelli and compare that to
No,
the case of like a normal.
Example.
I just gave general ones that are
Okay.
recent that I knew of.
Yeah.
Okay, fair
And
enough,
people have
fair
forgotten
enough.
about it. To be honest, I don't see
And, like,
anyone
people-
talking about it right
exactly,
now.
I just think, and that's the nature of Twitter as well. Like
Yeah.
there was one point.
It's not even
where
just
we were
about Twitter.
we were all canceling people. Like that's
Mm.
the
The thing with
cancel
Twitter,
culture.
yeah,
Cancel
no
people
matter
as well.
what, if you're likable, you can get away with anything, bro. The accusations against Docevelli, bro.
I don't think.
For the most part, bro, Docevelli was chatting to children. He was chatting to children.
Bro,
It's not even like UG's thing yet. That was like screenshots. Like these were like screen recordings, proof that it was his account. Like he
There are
cannot
animals
deny.
in this life,
I
man.
think for
Fuck.
most times, men they can move on, especially if they're the perpetrators. I think it's not to say they won't have their own. We all, to some capacity, we all suffer from like a form of we've all been down, we've all been. I think that can definitely happen, but I just think at the same time as well, the rate of recovery, especially for the perpetrators, I think just not stats, but okay.
Or maybe we
I
just
ain't got
because there's
stats
no
for
way to
that,
know.
but-
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Or
but
maybe we
generally,
just think that.
I think it's a lot more. It's quicker for.
It is quicker for
like,
them.
literally.
Yeah.
And a lot of things are coming up. Like, is it just Jeffrey
Epstein,
I don't know the guy, but like.
Done a lot of
Jeffrey
crazy shit.
Epstein's case was very, very clear because he had actually gone to prison for the thing before, for the
Yeah,
exact
but
same
then
thing.
I-
That was
yeah.
just stupidity. Everyone should have known, and anyone who argued
But the
just
thing is, for the longest
doesn't
time,
care.
he was okay. Like, do you get
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, he
Yeah.
was calm.
Yeah.
And that's just what I have to say about like recovery and stuff like that. And people that in spaces of power, people that can influence.
Yeah,
things.
people that are in
But you're
spaces
talking
of
about
power.
everyday. You're talking
Yeah.
about the everyday. Tom,
Negro.
Nah.
Hey. Oh,
Well,
The everyday guy.
yeah, and I just think I don't know. I just feel like even with that, there's still recovery. I think there's still recovery.
Is there really?
I think there's still not to an extent. Obviously, I'm not saying like
Yeah.
if you can go to Disneyland the next day, like no.
Yeah.
But I mean, like there's still chance of recovery. But for someone who has been a victim, who has to carry something for years, like that shit is just as mentally like I think.
Yeah.
At the playground, like we can't just shake hands and keep moving.
No,
like,
100%.
honestly,
Yeah.
If you're gonna take the fall for a bit, and I know it sounds very selfish, and as you said, I have zero sympathy, but if you're gonna take the fall for a bit, and you were wrong, like honestly, like
Check the
go
fall.
through the
Doesn't-
right processes. Like, do you get what I mean? I know it sounds so bad. Like I'm not
it
thinking
does.
about the perpetrator.
You really
It
aren't,
does.
but
You
I
really
understand.
aren't.
I
Yeah.
understand
whenever
it.
there's like punches and blows being thrown and stuff like that, I literally, at that moment, I just care about the victim and how the victim's feeling and what they will like. How just their recovery is more important to me.
Yeah.
I can't lie, and especially just knowing that women are usually at the receiving end of these things is what.
True.
So you're admitting your bias.
Sorry.
You're kind of admitting your
I'm
bias.
not admitting I'm biased. I'm just saying for the most parts of it,
Mhm.
victims will always be it men as well. Men are also
Niggas be damned.
men are also no,
That's what she
no,
said.
no.
Niggas be dead.
Men are also victims of abuse.
Yeah.
So let's
Mhm.
not forget
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Men are victims of abuse. From wars and stuff like that.
100%,
Like,
yeah.
men are so for me, the victim will always be priority because you know what? We
I
all
agree.
have to go through our own mental, mental recovery. You can also go through that as well.
Yeah.
As a perpetrator, but not
Not the same
house.
level. Yeah.
Not in this yard,
Yeah.
like, basically.
Feel
But
you.
Anywho, yeah, next.
Man, at the end of the day, it's always team. I'm always team believe the victim, but then at the same time, it's just look into things more, man.
My
But-
own capture. I'm team believe the victim, but I'll also use my sense. So if there are things that are telling me,
Calm down.
calm down,
Calm
Yeah.
down.
this thing is not adding up.
But the thing is,
Then-
if that was your boy,
Mm-hmm.
and people are saying, like, there's 1, 2, 3 people are saying, do you know what? This guy is so janky. Like, he's not what he seemed to be. And
Oh, I've ended friendships because of
you're
stuff
now
like
gonna
that.
Be like, but he's my best friend.
No,
you know,
no,
we used to play football
no,
together."
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That doesn't
No,
make
that
I've
doesn't
just
make
because
Ended
he's my
friendships
guy.
because of
Thing
that.
is, men be doing that, like
Yeah.
men be doing that and stuff like that. So
That doesn't make sense. I can't just say because he's my guy, he can't do something like
So I
that. I
was-
don't know what's in his
Yeah.
mind
I just
now.
want to ask her a question. I'm asking her all the questions because she's the guest, obviously.
Yeah.
Um.
her name's Abibat.
Shit.
Ah, sorry,
with like music stars and everything, when they get involved in things like this, do you think people should still listen to their songs
Or
or
is
they
this
should?
the support?
Yeah, the whole
or the
support thing.
artist?
Yeah, yeah.
Reach out.
What do you think? Do you think we should separate the art from the artist or fuck all of them together?
Fuck 'em all.
Fuck 'em all.
Yeah.
That one. I think just for some specific things, like it just depends on I guess it depends on what's done and like.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, more time, I think people actually give artists like we give them a lot more. We raise them up more than we need. To
Yeah,
raise them up.
100%,
Like, we
yeah.
100 million
we were treating
percent.
some of
Like
these
they're gods,
artists like
yeah.
they're gods. Like,
Yeah,
you'd be like,
100%.
Bro, he died too. Like
No, he died today.
he blew
He
too.
go anytime,
And
man.
like, and just like that, like I think it depends on what they've done. Like, I mean, I didn't really listen to some of these artists before, but like, I will not be because my money is going to you in some capacity if I'm streaming or listening to your music or doing whatever. So, if that's my way of blocking things from going to you, because it means you can upkeep yourself. It means even when with all of that happening,
Yeah.
you can still be living.
Get away from it.
You can get away from it.
Yeah.
Again, money is power, so I am giving you access to power, and to some extent. So I would definitely say, cut that person off. Like, don't listen to their music. I mean, R. Kelly, bloody hell. Some people still be playing his songs, like, and he makes a lot of money. Like, you might be like, oh, it's just one stream from me. But if there's 1,000 of you and you're all streaming together, money is going to him. Money is going to his.
I actually see it kind of differently.
Okay.
Because I look at the cause and effect side of things. I don't listen to R. Kelly. I never listen to him. I don't care about him. But let's say somebody like Drake turned out to be an abuser. Drake, you're not an abuser. This is just a hypothetical. So let's just say someone like Drake turned out to be an abuser. Now that nigga is worth 200 million. It's probably worth more, but the official statistics say 200 million. If everybody on earth stopped streaming his music today, in the absence of something very stupid from him, he will still be more than all right.
I think in that regards, you know what? Sometimes, like, I can't solve every world problem. Like, I can't, like, I can do what's in my capacity to do.
Yeah.
And even though he might already have that amount of money in store or whatever, like, in place, and he can still go on, there's no reason for me to be making that more than it is already. One. And two, like, there's also, as I said as well, like, if it's something that serious, like, so much ways for activism right now as well, as we saw in the case of, like, Nigeria, like, literally from the NSAS movement, like, people can go, you can extend yourself beyond that. Like, if he is, like, a repeated abuser, and what he's doing, a lot of women do come together, or men do come together. Drake, I don't know how he's, like, men, women who come together. I think they can definitely still, have some level of power, because you have money doesn't mean
You're God.
To be
Excluded from from your sins.
Bro, you're human, like.
I just feel like the art should be separated from the artist. I feel like because music you can have rights to music, and because, like, with the example he used, even if people stop streaming Drake, he's still gonna be rich.
I hear that. That's why I said you can also have alternative. You can do what you have in your capacity, as I said. Like, you don't have to. It might have X, Y, Z. Doesn't mean I need to contribute to any more of it. But if it's still something that's keeping him away from, being prosecuted and stuff like that, then find an alternative way of, pushing against him or whatever.
Just another question. My last one from me. You would stop listening to your favorite artist even though
you're not my favorite. Then what the heck? I don't want to be
word.
No, because why should I? Like,
how about you?
Fair enough. I mean, I wouldn't be singing their praises, but I would still listen to the music. I'm not gonna cap, bro.
You guys know my thing already.
So if Kanye came out today,
let me finish.
No, let me finish. I'm the one asking the question. I'm the one asking the question.
Brother, come on.
So say Kanye came out today as an abuser, you would stop listening to Kanye altogether.
Oh, yeah, let me start from answering your question from the beginning.
My guy is ready.
Let me start from the beginning. Like, true. So 2020 was an L for me in terms of my favorite musician. You guys know this. The Banj came out as a rapist, and then Octavian, basically. And Octavian was my most...
One of the pregnant.
Yeah, that was Octavian. And that was my most listened to artist in 2020.
You didn't even share that stuff on Rewind.
Man, I don't...
You know
I didn't know it was an abuser now.
This is very embarrassing.
I didn't know it was an abuser now. That's not my fault.
Yeah, we're just
joking.
Yeah, I know. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, cool. Those are two people that... You guys know I grew up on the Banj. There's influence from the Banj and Octavian. There was a lot of his music that I liked. But then the Banj, leave the Banj aside, because we spoke about it. The Banj doesn't really talk about, like he's on his vibey music type, African music. But Octavian, there was a lot of darkness and talks of assault and undertones in the stuff that he did that you can hear in the music. So that's why with me, I can't listen to that. Because now I always know, like,
what
okay,
about
there's
the Banj?
something out. The
That's
Banj zone is still, just because of the gravity of the car with me, it's just like, nope, I can't.
As in,
And then,
so are you telling me you will stop listening to Kanye or not?
yeah, so
Okay.
no, like, let me just get my point in. So yeah, the Banj, obviously, there's no dark undertones and stuff that would even allude that he's done or does something like that.
Or fall in love?
Yeah, you get me?
Talking about rice and beans.
I don't even know that one.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, so with Octavian, okay, that one I just had to stop. Even on R. Kelly, for example, R. Kelly having lyrics like "My mind is telling me no, but my body is telling me yes." That's just stuff like, nope, I cannot listen to that anymore.
Yeah, that's
Now
fair.
going
I would be
into
able to listen to that shit
your
too.
body just shudders like, oh, girl.
it's like
Yeah.
Lidge. Like going to Kanye West, for example, now the gravity of the crowd, like if it's rape, like no, bro, I couldn't. And I couldn't, bro.
No, I'm
like
not
even
saying-
now, like I said, Octavian was my most listened to artist
And
of
that's because
2020.
I think like it's even for me as a woman, like I want kids, like I want to be pregnant or whatever. But to think like it's literally like even the thought of beating up like a pregnant woman, like
Man.
and I'm just thinking like even like my body's shaking, like bro, I'm not gonna now come and type it. Oh, Octavian, I don't know one of his songs that you like. Liked, I should say.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But no,
Can't like it's just when things are like that, like it's very much like it's close to home, like it really
Yeah.
hits different, like scissor reference that hits different, but yeah.
I mean, we're not saying you guys are crazy for doing that.
Yeah.
No.
I'm just asking, am I crazy for still being able to listen?
I won't even
Yeah.
say you're crazy because at the end
Yeah,
of the
because
day,
people will come up to you and say you're a bad person because you're still.
I don't pay
listening
them
to
no
this
mind,
person.
man.
yeah.
I'm
But things like
pay them
even
no mind, bro.
Pay them no mind.
even with that,
Yeah.
you guys saying you listen to like I don't like it's do your thing, and at the end of the day, it's the art. Like especially if they're not even alluding to doing stuff like that, it's like okay, fine, do your thing. But with me, one, I can't support it. Like I kind of know that even if it's pennies,
And
I can't
no, and
take
even-
pride in knowing that I'm funding
what?
you.
And even with the whole funding thing, yeah, they convict rich people. They freeze their accounts.
But
Yeah,
is
I
his
mean-
account being frozen right now? No.
No, it's not, but
For
they do
financial
that.
crimes.
But they do that.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Like even right now, no matter what, R. Kelly is in prison, yeah. But then R. Kelly is still making money from the sale. That's facts. Like he's still making money from the sale. People will still stream R. Kelly forever. During every wedding, at least for the older generation that don't believe in
Niggas
cancel
not
culture and whatever, they're playing his music. They are playing most of his catalog that day. R. Kelly will make money to the day he dies.
I don't even think it's even canceling per se, like because I don't really. I think cancel culture. Yeah. I think cancel
The
culture.
bug is spreading.
Honestly, oh girl, don't.
Hey, not hey.
Do not the strain. But yeah, I think the thing with cancel culture is the fact that it's just sometimes it's the effectiveness of it and the fact that maybe not taking like the individual into account as well, like that that's been cancelled. Like we've seen Nella Rose was cancelled, wasn't she cancelled last year?
Yeah.
Cancelled,
Yeah.
quote unquote. But like
Yeah.
I still didn't see personally for me, I didn't think that was necessary, honestly, because men did worse and we didn't cancel.
I
them, so
think
What
the
did she
whole
do
Nella
again?
Rose thing.
I think it was just
Tweets when
were
she was old about
Oh,
Yeah.
She was 11.
She was
or 12.
11,
People
man.
are
And
so
the thing
fucking
is, and
stupid,
I
man.
think even for me, like, especially, obviously we've gone off topic a bit here, but especially for me, like, as growing up in that period and time as well, for me, I just saw it as like it was a lot of internalized hatred.
Hatred,
more than
yes.
anything.
Yeah.
It literally was internalized hatred, and when I read those tweets, it was even things that black boys would casually say to us on the playground, like, "Oh, why would I date you? Like, bro,
Shit.
you're black as
You're
shit."
black.
But
God.
like literally,
Oh
Call you
but
nice.
God.
at that period, it was not that it was the norm, but that was what people were doing, and it was just internalized hatred. And to see her, it was just as an art or as an artist or even tweeting, we tweet based off of experience now.
Yeah,
surrounding,
experience,
especially in that
emotions and
moment
stuff like
as
that,
well.
yeah.
And for me, I didn't see that, especially the men who made colorist tweets. They didn't even get as much backlash as she did, but people really wanted to really take her down on that
Yeah.
day. They were like, you know what, we're gonna cut her legs off today.
I honestly
Yeah.
think
No,
they were
but you
just
know what
looking
that
for
was with
reason.
Nella Rose here? Sorry to cut you off as
Yeah.
well. Like people just don't want like there's a lot of hatred and jealousy towards Nella. Like
In
people need to
general,
understand.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people are rooting for her downfall essentially. Like even when it came out that because she lost her mom time ago, but then last summer she lost her dad as well. So even when that came out, like during the time that she was just in the social media hiatus, like people were in the comments like, "Oh yes, it's good you lost your dad." Whatever the case,
Like,
such
people
terrible
were so
stuff.
Yeah,
bro.
I
And
saw
all
that
of a
tweet.
sudden
I
now
saw
we
that
care about
tweet.
mental health.
Yeah.
You that you were tweeting yesterday, I'll
Yeah.
take everything.
Be-
Like be nice,
Be
be
nice to
nice.
people.
Oh, do you know what?
Dumbass.
Oh, mental
Yeah.
health, guys.
People never
Is
wanted
that
Nella
what-
to
You don't
win.
know what people are going through.
Good
Oh, you didn't
day.
know- you didn't know what she was going through when you said take everything from her.
People never wanted
That's why
Nella
it's good
to
just not to
win,
rate
bro.
people
You have
and
to
not care,
understand,
man.
like even you, Like, there's a whole format that I call the Nella Rose format on YouTube, bro, that people copy and stuff like that. Like, people will never be as big as they want to because they copy Nella's format. So if you can get the top taken down, then obviously you're lit in it. So that's where a lot of people, it's jealousy for Nella, bro. That's where it was. Yes, her tweets were unacceptable, but at the same time, she was young. It's not that deep.
And you know what? She apologized.
And she apologized. That's what it is.
She came straight up and she was like, you know, XYZ was how I was feeling, and that was why I reflected more time. And like even going back to the artist things as well, like I think it was Nina Simone, I can't remember, like one of this, you know, very prominent black women at that period. She said, as an artist, your job is to reflect the times and stuff like that. Obviously not linking it to Nella Rose's tweets and stuff like that. But especially now that you know, we're very much pro-black, you know, anything that goes against, you know, what we think, like things that lift us up, we will clap back at it and stuff like that. We can do that now because we're reflecting what our norm is now, because we're not going to settle for ish anymore. And her tweeting that was a reflection of that period as well, like what people were doing. And I know it shouldn't always be a reflection of the period as well, but it just is what it is. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that people should just know these things without us having to say it.
People should,
they should just know these things.
They're not smart. They don't have sense like that, man.
Even with that guy that was kissing them, I was like, what was he doing with animals? What's his name?
Oh yeah, Brother Nature.
Brother Nature.
I was so
sorry.
I didn't like that guy.
Nazi stuff.
I mean,
Okiki never liked him.
I never liked him. So when he came out,
I'm just exaggerating. He just plays around with animals.
Sorry, I was so scared. I was like,
Jesus. But now in general, though, like there's a lot of false equivalents in a lot of things. Like people who go after, like the smoke Nella got was not even close to the smoke Dutch. People were women, no.
I just think men, just that comparison, like as I say again, like especially in the UK scene, the UK, I don't know, celebrity, quote unquote celebrity anyway, Rose Eyes, but yeah, in the UK celebrity like market, like men don't get as much, they don't get as much telling off as women do, and especially when women get telling off, they almost get telling off like, you know, I'm gonna tell you off and I'm gonna keep you in that position for as long as I can, and I think that's just not fair.
Like an oppression thing.
Literally, exactly, and it was also like another dark skin black woman, you know, Nella Rose is doing bits, and we can't even deny that. Like even now,
nice
like,
she's clear.
Like,
she's
she don't blow. Like,
she don't blow. That flat we did London.
Nella is clear, bro.
When I saw the house tour, I was
But do you think it's by virtue of the fact that they're men
that
they don't get enough backlash?
Never that they made a lot of things play into it, because even with the Dutch thing, women were saying stuff like, "There's no way Dutch did that. He's paying."
Yeah, they were saying his voice is.
That was the reasoning behind it.
Those people are far gone.
No, but there was a lot of people like that. I was like, "Oh, how can he do that? Have you heard his voice? Or how can he do that? He's paying." Like,
but I was saying, because I'm actually asking.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing. I'm just asking because like we've seen things that suggest otherwise. For example, what was the name of that Johnny Depp's wife? What's her name?
I can't remember, but Johnny Depp's wife.
Let me not say the wrong name.
Somebody. But yeah, she still has her roles. You know, she's still living life. Now Johnny Depp, on the other hand, has been taken out of movies and stuff. She's a woman.
I think
Nicki Minaj.
It happened. It was ongoing. I think whilst the court proceedings. I just think maybe for the movie it would have just been easier. Not even apart from like the attachment. Maybe like even needing him to be on scene and stuff like that. Like it would have been a lot more to it than that. But I hear you. But I just even say that, even if you make a list of all the men and all the women, the men will always get off a lot easier.
I agree.
Than the women have. And it's not to say women can't get off. Obviously as well, the other things that play into part, money plays into part, influence plays into part, who's got your back plays into part. But for the most case, if you're a man,
Picks up.
Well, I learned a lot during this episode. But speaking of, learning a lot, there's one thing, please don't touch people. Like, consent to.
This beg,
as in,
this beg you're begging, we've been begging for how many days?
Yes, but people still need to hear it, man.
It's
like
not
they say,
begging.
consent is sexy, bro. Like, for real. Like,
it's not by begging, man.
And it's not even fun. Like, even if you like someone and they don't even want you to be.
And they're not enjoying it.
Do you not want it it to be receptive.
Yeah,
These
mutual.
are questions I ask
Yeah.
myself,
You don't
and I
want
just.
love, like, you don't want.
You don't.
You wanna
Yeah.
look at
Love is
someone
sweeter
like,
when the person loves you. Bro.
Yeah,
You know what I
and it's
mean?
going back to sex education as
Right.
well. Like all these things, like even
Right.
sex, like I would never know about it. But with sex, yeah,
the
it's
fact
supposed
that
to be.
you have to deny it.
The fact that I was gonna say that.
You're just exposing yourself.
Although me, I'm actually.
That's a good.
Yeah,
God
why
damn.
I'm not here for this.
But my thing though is
Yeah.
like sex should be a thing that's supposed to be mutually enjoyable. Like it's not just supposed to be you.
Tell us. Go on.
Frank Underwood said that sex is about power.
He said everything is about sex.
He said everything.
He said everything,
everything
is about sex,
and sex
except
is about
sex.
power.
Yeah,
Wait, who said this?
Frank Underwood.
But it's a long
House of
it's a
Cards.
quote, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I don't know that.
Everything
reference.
is about
Fair.
sex, except
Everything.
sex. Sex is about power.
No.
But
But
you
things
see
that
what he
sex
was
is
doing,
such
man was
sex is such a powerful thing, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that deep, Sha, for me.
No, it is that deep. It is
Mm.
that deep.
Although I haven't experienced it, maybe that is why.
Oh,
Look
Let
at
me
this
just
guy,
say that.
man. But reported
hell is
thing,
hot.
like I said.
But you're not going
not
to.
going
Yeah.
to
the, man, the important thing, consent is sexy. Please,
Period.
Doesn't it frustrate you people when you hear these things?
hear
Because
what?
things people should know. And
No,
you
but
say it
then
over and
clearly
over
you said it
again.
yourself. People are stupid.
It can
So it's
frustrate you,
important.
you
You
know.
have
Is
to
it
keep
actually because they
driving
don't
the
know?
message home.
It's
But
actually
the-
because they
what
actually don't know.
Yes, what
I
if
think
they
it'll be
know?
common
They just
sense.
don't care, bro.
It'll be
They
common
don't
sense when anyone to know,
Yeah.
don't touch me. Or the person
Are
who's
you
abusing, if I
okay?
touch him, will he like it?
But at the end of the day, like some people, oh my
No.
god, some people don't
Okay.
understand the
Okay.
concept of consent. That's a thing. People don't understand it.
Yeah.
People think that consent is just
Nah,
no.
you know, we can, because you need to understand as well. Like we are speaking about this from from a point of being educated about it. More time if you go and see people that don't like it's even something basic as like even like let it be like one uncle or something. Like, come
Yeah.
here, Joe. Like when they even like when they use you as an example and they're like just things like that. Like even people being in your space when you don't need them to as well. Because one thing I've realized, like not to insult like Nigerian or Yoruba culture, like we're very like
Into
You
your
touch
yeah.
me.
like,
Yeah.
officially, like it's such a huge thing, like, and it's just something that I've come to realize, like like my parents grew up in massive families. What space do you actually have? Like it's either you're
Yeah.
slapped or you're far away. Like
Yeah.
like honestly, like kind of like that. So it's kind of like we
Yeah.
need to even in cultural teachings as well. Like we might think it might be so clear to us, like it's shining in our faces.
Yeah.
But for some people, it's not shining at all. Like they
Yeah.
need to get some,
It's always been
perspectives.
burning to me, and then this is what I'll just say before we wrap up the episode. It's always burning to me, like how many cases. Like I think it was Sideman that said it was like, ask your female friends if they've ever been sexually assaulted, whatever the case means. Like ask all of them and check this, like factor in the statistics of just how many of them were.
Facts.
I did
A
it to myself.
lot.
I asked 11 girls, and 10 said they were.
I actually didn't know how bad it was.
And I was
I
just
That's-
like,
that's-
until I asked
oh.
my female, I was like,
And I was
yeah.
just like, oh
And
my
every
it
single
god.
really
one of
shouldn't-
them.
And it really shouldn't be like that because sometimes girls actually have to think about it, like what I mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
like,
some
you
people don't
keep
even
it
know they've been
until you-
assaulted.
until you have to like,
Yeah.
you know what is assault and stuff, and you're like, bro, like
That
Yeah.
actually happened.
that guy
That's
did
so
that.
sad,
like,
man.
yeah. but
Man,
Anywho, if you're someone like, don't touch people. Consent is sexy.
Facts.
Ask for
You
consent.
dumbass.
facts.
And if they don't like you, like it's okay. You
Rejection
find
is
your
not
own-
that deep,
Bro,
Like,
there's
man.
7 billion
Like-
people on this planet, man.
And if
Somebody
you don't
hopefully
find
will like
someone,
you.
like I don't know, turn on your TV or something.
It's not that deep, bro.
Oh my,
It's why is it
not
so
that
hard not
deep.
to assault somebody?
As in,
God damn, bro.
Well,
Some problems we have on Earth. I'm just like, why?
don't touch me. Why
literally.
can't
Let's
I
just
touch
start
you?
afresh.
Yeah, man.
Let
Like I
them-
said, a
let-
lot
let
of
them know what
countries,
Yeah, I know what my solution
a lot
is.
of countries, a lot of people, whatever the case may be, we just need a factory reset, a lot of mindset, and we really need to go into the education system.
Yeah, I
About
think
a
for
lot
me-
of
I
things,
think For me,
bro.
that's the most important part, especially
Yeah.
like just the coming generations. Like, I really like the younger generations, so because I just feel
Yeah,
like there's
I
so
agree.
much more. Like, with the generations
Let's
that won't
see.
take the F, like literally, we will have you. You
Hang
want
by
to
the
push me back
balls.
to exactly
Yeah.
like squeeze the shit like
Ah.
period.
Oh
No,
god.
not like that. Not literally. Yeah, but definitely with a generation that's not gonna take it, and I really like that, and I think it's definitely good for like empowering the young generation. And if they're older people that you can tell off, like forget this respectability.
Respect with you.
Fuck
If
that.
you're doing anyhow,
If
I'm
you're
going
doing-
salt
if
you,
you're
Go
yeah.
doing-
insult you, eh? Ah.
Talk to
Oh,
anyhow,
beard,
be
yeah.
doing
honestly,
anyhow,
like,
bro.
because of your, even at your big age, like, are you not embarrassed?
You
Like,
get
You're not
Yeah.
embarrassed.
Yeah.
It's very embarrassing. But yeah,
But fun episode though. Shit.
Fun episode.
I've been
though.
Abibat. and
Come on, big
I'm
up
gonna leave all
Abibat.
my stuff in the description bar below. I do everything natural hair, beauty here and there. So check it out.
Sorry, yo.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Well,
Abibat
that's
stuff
all
is
fine,
gonna
yeah.
be definitely in the description. Probably link up somewhere, just some of our content.
Yeah.
But yeah, Abibat, thank you for showing up, man.
Thank you so much for showing up.
You guys already know what
She's
it
already a
is.
staple.
She's
on
a
this
goat.
She's a
platform.
staple, man.
Say that shit again.
She's the goat.
Period.
But yeah, man, big up Abibat for showing love. Big up you guys for showing up as always.
Did we get
Come on.
Yeah, but
And I beg, subscribe so you know go get choice.
we won't make money. Again.
As
Subscribe.
in, Abibat's fans that are watching this, I beg you to join this.
Why are you
Subscribe.
begging
Like,
for?
Buy a beat chest small, man.
but yeah, as always, like, comment, subscribe. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube,
Go where?
wherever you get your podcast from. And yeah, a Abibat outro for us, man. Give us that Abibat outro.
I'm a sexy babe. Oh yeah. Yeah. Bye guys.
Bademi
Bye.
Sale.
La, la, la,
You go
la,
be.
la, la,
You
la.
understand? Green passport, we're out. Peace.
Oh, that was cute. Oh, look at us. I'm so. Okay. Guys. So far, money for no one. You get money, please, bro. You get money, oh. I just said, all of Papa no send them England, come school. So, we went to a public school.
Don't fucking kill me.
I shouldn't get up.
No, I'm trying to see them back.
She really is.